a big evidence, and I don't know, the literature somehow does not highlight those very much.
Mm-mm.
I don't understand that. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean that's another. So we have tons of training, tons and tons of hours of training in nutrition, and a lot of medical doctors, unless they've done some type of integrative medicine or supplemental training as far as nutrition goes, like that's a huge component of my practice is teaching people how to make healthy habits and diet and lifestyle and things like that we just take for granted, or maybe we just don't know. And I think that's a lot of where I was, 12 years ago before my cancer diagnosis. I didn't know any of these things. I didn't know that it was important to really exercise and to eat vegetables and to limit sugar and all of these things that, now feel like common sense to me, but it's not common sense to the majority of people out there.
Yes, and same for me too. I was a big believer at all.
Yeah.
I used to make fun of that. No, that is not for us. But now I am actually reversed. So that is true. And, but it is, I think the other thing is the pharmaceutical industry as well as food industry. They are to blame, for a lot of this. They will just push people to do this and then advertise heavily, and then we have this kind of problem where each industry gains from each other. Pharmaceutical gains from food industry as well, because they don't want you to get better.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these principles for educational purposes, of course. What are the key components you would like, or get some tips for any?
What do you mean?
Key components for the diet.
The key what? Components of the diet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I primarily work a lot with women. So a big thing that I teach all of my women to do is to look at their plate and make sure that they're getting protein, fat, and fiber with each meal. And if they're doing that, then they have a well-balanced diet. I am not a fan of diets. I don't think that there really should be any sort of diet, because I've seen a lot of failure with diets. Or what happens if you finish this diet, then what? Are you just going to go back to your old eating habits of, the standard American diet, going, to fast food or quick and easy, and not having this diet that you were on? So I'm a huge fan of just teaching people how to eat healthy and make healthier habits, so that it's more of a lifestyle and not, okay, I'm going to diet for 3 months and then what? So teaching, the protein, fat, and fiber at each meal. Also just being more mindful of how much carbs they're having, how much sugar they're having in proportion to how much good fat and protein that they're getting. And I sometimes, if women don't have any idea where they're starting from, I'll have them track their foods for a few days just to see. And it's actually really eye-opening. It's a good learning experience for themselves, because they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was eating so little protein, or I was eating so much carbohydrates, etc. Especially for those people that have blood sugar problems, or, pre-diabetic, or have a lot of inflammation in their body, which can set them all, more susceptible to having some of these diseases. So that's typically where I start, is just being mindful of what you're eating. We're just so quick to go grab food and eat it because it tastes good, or because it's convenient, or it's in the fridge, or whatever the case may be. But have we actually really sat there and said, okay, I've got this, this, and this on my plate, or oh no, I'm missing, or I haven't eaten any fiber today, or I haven't eaten any healthy fats today. So just being more mindful of what you're eating is usually where I start.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, actually, in my book, I have also a chapter called Mindful Eating. And a lot of people don't realize, but actually, if you put mind to eating, it really helps, especially, if you eat slowly, take your time.
Chew your food.
Yeah. And then you want to, taste the food, because many times if you eat very fast, you don't know what you ate pretty much. So, and it's been my personal experience too, that you tend to eat more. So
Yep.
the fast food industry is geared towards that. You give your order, and somehow people think that you have to finish in 5 minutes and get back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a big problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, the mind, and, of course, water, as I drink water before you eat, and so on. It kind of, and you don't have to eat all at once, because, the body, especially stomach, is just a bag. So more you fill it, the more you stretch it, the bigger it gets. So,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't stretch it too much, means eat less at a time, then, it's very natural that it's going to remain small. And,
Yeah.
and there's a big problem because, you know, for many reasons, if you give body a lot of things to do at once, it's like, not very smooth operation for body because, there's a limited amount of blood. It has to
Mm-hmm.
dedicate all the blood towards
Mm-hmm.
GI versus towards your brain and vital organs. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little difference, and then it's common sense. But this is mindful eating. This is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we want. We want
Yeah.
take your time, enjoy, and then do not eat at once.
Yeah.
Those are very, very important. Simple. It looks very simple. Actually, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those when a lot of people come and ask me and they say, oh no, and the other important point is about diet. So none of these diet actually work. That's perfectly fine because I think when I also started, I looked at, being a physician. We said, oh, over the years, I said, well, what should I do? Because I knew I was going in wrong track. I said, one thing is I should just go in and get, at some kind of camp and then lose all the weight. And then, but then exactly your point, what happens when you come back? So how are you going to make day-to-day changes? And then,
Mm-hmm.
so that for the same reason, surgery never works very well
Mm-hmm.
because, you can get surgery very good, but what happens after that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 2 years, a lot of, few years later, even 6 months, there's many people they go back to, unfortunately, their bad habits, and then surgery fails.
Mm-hmm.
Say, well, problem was never here, and not in your stomach. Problem was up here.
Mm-hmm.
Should maybe have some kind of surgery there, or
Yeah.
some change in our thought process.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need. So, and a lot of people say, oh, can I will be eating this much after surgery and this much. I said, why don't you try that before surgery, and then see if that works, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you'll be living that life after surgery, and then why don't you try
Yeah.
for that? So, and then, oh yeah, that's. But where I find also is convincing people, how to make those changes, and first of all, they don't believe that's that easy. But second is they somehow don't understand that it can be done, right? It can be done. So where do you see this problem, going, helping them to understand and making us change, like yourself and us
Yeah.
living in lifestyle?
My favorite thing, and I think that what's most successful is picking one thing, like one bad habit, and disrupting it. So if you're prone to going to get, say, a soda at 2 p.m. because that's just what you do, like change that. Go to the fridge and grab like water instead, like cut out that soda. So pick one bad habit at a time and disrupt it. Because if you just go cold turkey, for some people that don't know what in the heck to do or where to start, they're going to set themselves up for failure again, because if they go back to their old ways or add something in that they, shouldn't have, then they're going to feel shame, remorse, guilt about it. And then they're just going to be like, oh man, I just totally reversed everything that I've been working hard for, and then they give up and then they just go back to their old ways. So, it's simple as just making one little change, or instead of having, a whole potato on your plate, just have half a potato and have more vegetables. I'm not telling you to like cut things out of your diet. Just be more mindful of it and maybe replace some of that food with something healthier. You can still have the foods that you're used to. It's just making sure that it's balanced. And I think that is really successful and really helpful for people to understand. It's like, okay, well, go have the cookie if you want to have the cookie, because tomorrow you probably won't have a cookie and you're going to eat, really healthy and clean, but you also allow yourself to have that little reward or that little treat because it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to set you backwards. It's not going to negate everything that you've done for the previous few days. So that's typically how I like to approach it. And I feel like that's a really successful way at doing it.
And that is so true. Baby steps, one step at a time. And one thing which I have seen in my case was success is, like that. So any success in one step would actually reinforce 10 other steps.
Yeah.
You can do that if you are failing first one. So that is such an important concept. Yes, I will now keep that in mind, and that's actually a great approach.
Mm-hmm.
Also, since you have great work experience in women health, so tell me also, I always find this very interesting. There's a big difference how women eat and men eat. So tell me a little bit, how can we help them?
Well, that's the big thing about these diets. And all of these diets have been studied on men, and they haven't been studied on women. And women, unfortunately, are not tiny men. Like, we are completely different. Our chemistry is different. Our hormones are way different. Men have really two hormones that drive them, cortisol and testosterone, and women have a million other hormones and, working for us and against us at times. So yeah, that's why the protein, fat, and fiber for women is so important, because not only is it helpful for their blood sugar, it's helpful at reducing inflammation. It's helping get them good calories so that they can make hormone, because that's another misconception, is that, higher cholesterol or low cholesterol is like the goal. Well, we actually need cholesterol for our hormones, and it's a huge building block of our hormones. So if we don't have the good healthy fats, or have way too high of cholesterol, way too low of cholesterol, like, that's actually not helping our situation. So yeah, it's tough. And also for women, like, we think the less that we eat, the more that we're going to lose. And that's another, huge myth. It's a lot of times women are struggling with weight loss because they're not eating enough. And I have to like switch their brain and explain to them why. I'm like, you're not eating enough based on your metabolic demands. Like, women that are constantly working out, once or twice a day, even, I'm like, and they're not losing weight. I'm like, well, I don't think you're eating enough. And they're like, there's no way. Like, what do you mean? I need to eat more? And it's like, yes, we have to work with your metabolism, but then we also have to make sure your mitochondrial function is good, because if your mitochondrial function isn't good, you're not going to have good metabolism. So there's it's like, women are complex, and I think every man will agree with that in more ways than others. But as far as like weight loss and hormones and all of that goes, like, it's a puzzle, and men can literally cut out cheese from their diet and lose 10 pounds. And it's not that easy for women. So we struggle, and it's hard. And that's why teaching you the healthy habits, so that way you don't have this yo-yo dieting effect of up and down with your weight. You can maintain your weight loss, steadily, and not have to worry about doing any diet.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is very fascinating. I always tell a lot of my clients too, that there's a big difference between, women and men body. Men, in my opinion, should be more leaner. Okay. Because we don't need as much fat. Because we need testosterone and muscles, yes. We don't need fat, but it is kind of very interesting that social stigma somehow stigmatize women and not men. So men could be very obese and have big belly and all that, and they say, oh, they look great, or no, they look horrible, because for many reasons, there's a ratio between testosterone and estrogen switches once you have that kind of visceral fat a lot. And you need testosterone, you don't need estrogen and so forth. So those, but they somehow kind of hold women more on that, and then not men. And I don't understand why we have that, So that's so true. Women can have some degree of they need actually for hormones. They need more of these cholesterol molecules and some of good fat, which men might not need as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is so true, and that's so true. So where you think we can, as you know, we have three big industries against us, pharmaceutical, food industry, and also, a lot of education has to be done to people. Where we can do better, where we can, you think we can help a lot of people?
Honestly, what we're doing now is more things like this, like integrative medicine, medical doctors working with naturopathic doctors, or even not, that would be awesome too, but having patients have a medical doctor on their team and have a naturopathic doctor on their team, so they get both benefits of, Western medicine and naturopathic medicine, so that they can become their healthiest versions and learn these things that, people don't know. And that's why I love doing what I do. And I love doing podcasts like this and education around it, because it's so important. And I was in that, same thing 12 years ago, and I knew nothing about any of this. I just, ate to eat. And there's a lot more to health and wellness than what we think. And that's why it's important to have, someone like a naturopathic doctor on your team, or educating yourself more by reading books or podcasts or whatever the case may be for you.
Okay, very nice. And one more question is about cancer and the rise of carcinogens. And so tell us a little bit, any tips you would like to share about some of general principles on that?
Yeah, as far as diet goes, when I was first diagnosed, I read a book by Chris Carr. It was like Crazy Sexy Cancer Tips, and she's a very well-known advocate in the cancer community, and she's got a dormant cancer that's always with her. But when I was reading her book, I'm like, what? Like, this is fascinating. I had no idea. So the first thing is, cancer is driven or fed by sugar, and sugar is so predominant in our diet. And if you wanted to start anywhere, it's just being more mindful of how much sugar you're actually eating. And sugar, can come from fruit, and it can come from carbohydrates. And that's it's not just eating a brownie. Like, you get sugar from other things in your diet. And that was something else that I was naive to. I didn't know that. I didn't know, like, oh, a banana has, so many grams of sugar in it. I thought bananas were good for me. Well, they are good for you in moderation. So things like that. Water and hydration is huge. I hated water. I never drank water because it was boring. It just doesn't taste like anything. And I didn't know that you actually really needed to drink water, because it's so important for your immune system. It's important for your brain health. It's important for your lymphatic system, which helps you detox, all of these things. So yeah, those are like two big tips: is sugar, trying to avoid sugar as much as possible. And even like the artificial sugars, like those are even worse. And I would be very leery of anything labeled sugar-free. Make sure you read your labels, because if it says sugar-free, it's going to have some probable fake sugar in it that's even worse than actual table sugar. So yeah, be your own advocate, do your own research, read your labels. And when you don't know, look it up or ask someone that knows. So.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, I always find it very fascinating. A lot of products out there in the name of detox, they are very bad. A lot of my patients said, "Oh, I'm having a detox week or whatever." what are you eating? What are you doing? Oh, this kind of whole, in my opinion, those are wrong food. And so what detox for body will be like giving water. That's the best detox, by the way. And then, maybe some kind of fasting where you don't eat as much. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So give system break. That is called detox for human body, not put too many chemicals, and which they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all, not at all. But give a break, and then that, in my opinion, water is the best detox anyone can have.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So yes. Any final thoughts, and would you like to share before we end the program?
I just want to say, just be your own advocate. With my whole health diagnosis, like I knew something was wrong, and I was not necessarily brushed off, but I just wasn't getting any answers. So if you have any health concerns, whether that's like I'm tired all the time, or your hair's falling out, or you can't lose weight, or your hormones are a mess, and you're being brushed off like you're normal, like go find functional medicine doctor or naturopathic doctor if you don't have one of them on your team to really help you get to the root cause, because life's too short to feel suboptimal, and we should all be living our healthiest, vibrant lives.
Okay, great. Thank you for coming to our show, and check out her website, Doctor, your website, if you want to tell our audience about your website.
Yeah, my website's drerinellis.com. You can find all my social media links there. I'm very active on Instagram and Facebook, so you can find those links there.
Okay, very nice. And thank you for educating us, and good luck. And so maybe, hopefully, we'll see you some other day. Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Moby.
Take care. Bye. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guest Caitlin with us from Florida. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How's everyone else?
Great. So thank you for coming to our show, and it's been a gorgeous day in Orlando as well as in DC. And Caitlin happens to be from DC, so I was chatting with her, but she doesn't remember anything.
Yes, I was born there, but I lived all over the place. So,
do you remember where were you born?
Yeah, well, my dad moved around a lot. He was promoted around the country, not military. Everybody asks that, not military. I've been living in Florida for most of my life. So
okay, great. And that is a true Florida spirit here.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Caitlin first. Caitlin is a nutrition specialist, right? That's what you do, right? So tell us about yourself, Caitlin.
Well, currently I'm a nutrition coach. I do whole food, what I call plant preferred. It's on my shirt. Cooking as well. I'm also a mother of 4, so I've got a really, really busy family life here. I help others go through the same type of transformation that I went through years ago. And I hope to inspire others to want to pursue a healthy lifestyle. And yeah, I don't know if you want me to go into my story or not, but that's my...
No, please do that, because I think then people can really relate. So tell us, how did you start?
So several years ago, I was a lot less healthy than I am now. I was 50 pounds heavier. I was just entering that domain of, being categorized as obese. I had really terrible anxiety and depression. I was sleeping like 13 hours a day. I had just gone through a really difficult breakup with somebody I thought I was going to get married to. And I was a single parent. So I realized I needed to change my lifestyle because I had like no sense of self-worth at the time. And B, I didn't feel like a totally competent parent. I had a hard time getting out of bed in the morning to get my son to school. And so I felt like really I needed to lose weight at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say that losing weight, solves all your problems. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I did realize that I needed to lose weight and get healthier. So I did a medical weight loss program.
Mm-hmm.
When I first walked in the door, I realized the receptionists there were overweight. And so I wondered, I realized I couldn't just lose weight. I was going to have to change my whole lifestyle if I wanted to keep it off. Because what was clear to me is that some people were going and doing this medical weight loss program, and then they were just rebounding and gaining that weight back. So when I started doing my weight loss, and I lost 50 pounds in like 4 months, which is not typical. I don't suggest trying to do that. But it like melted off of me, but that's because I was basically starving myself. To be honest, the program had me eating less than 1,000 calories. But like I said, I realized I needed to change my whole lifestyle. So I started looking into nutrition. I got really interested in nutrition. I started running. And at the time I felt like I was going to die if I ran for, 30 seconds, but, a couple of years later, I was running, a handful of half marathons. So, and I really just I felt like switching to a healthier lifestyle just totally changed my whole life and my perspective and my confidence. And because of that, I became very passionate in helping others do the same.
I think that is a great story, and a lot of people can relate to that. Many levels. First of all, you had a difficult time in life. A lot of people have difficulty recently, with COVID, of course. We call them COVID pounds. People are gaining at least 10, 20 or more pounds. And then we have, of course, a lot of stress. So first of all, for everyone, just to realize nobody has life which is free of stresses. Nobody has. And, I have a lot of stresses. You have a lot of stresses. And it could be personal, it could be financial, it could be both, it could be emotional, it could be all of them. But the question is always, how do we take care of ourselves? And if we don't, can we handle or go through that stressful time? That is probably the most important thing, right? If you yourself are not well enough physically to go through, then these stresses can really cause a lot of problem for someone. And look at, for example, COVID, with the people who were overweight. We are not here to stigmatize anyone, but reality is reality. If somebody is overweight and diabetic and then have medical issues, they are at highest risk of dying from COVID. Okay, so it is what it is. The COVID is really affecting those individuals, especially if they are not taking care of themselves. So that brings more of to take care of your health first. And that is not only just to look good, but which is everybody's right to look good. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But also to take care of your health, which is, your diabetes, your high blood pressure, your cholesterol, and a lot of bad things. It's very simple. All we have to do is eat healthier and kind of adopt healthier lifestyle. And why we say lifestyle, and that is another second good point you had, is that anyone can lose any amount of weight, but keep it down for extended period of time is the most important. You can lose 50 pounds, whatever. Even people lose with surgery, but then they gain back. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then the question is, I always tell them the problem was never in the stomach. Problem was up here, thinking. So if your thinking is not correct, unfortunately, and that's what I also struggled I used to be 100 pound overweight too. So, and then for me, same thing was that busy schedule. Yes, lot of excuses. But when I thought of joining, calling someone and joining a camp or something, lose weight. And but the question is, when you come back into your real life, then you gain back.
Absolutely.
Then the question is how. Now you have 4 kids and you have, you're busy. With one kid is full-time job, right? 4 kids is
Yes.
4 jobs. Okay, well, and then of course you have to look at 10 other things. So life doesn't get easy, but I think you have worked the way to find the lifestyle, right? That is the key, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's all about balance and just taking small actions. Small actions lead up to big results. So
To big results. So tell me what other things which helped you to maintain your lifestyle.
well, I used to hate cooking. Um, and I find it interesting. Some people will, they'll just go sign up for a meal service or something, but you kind of do need to learn just a little bit of cooking. I mean, you don't have to be a chef. You don't have to be like, really good at it.
Yeah.
But being able to prepare something that's predominantly made with whole fruits and vegetables and good quality meats and animal products, I think that was huge. And I started teaching myself to cook when I was doing my weight loss program. And I mean, before that, I was like, Thanksgiving time, whatever, I was hiding. I did not want to cook. And I was definitely that type of person to throw chicken nuggets in the oven. But I had since learned that it is really important to learn a little bit of cooking skills in order to be able to live a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And so then that brings to our other topic here, which is your clean cooking with Caitlin. Okay, right. So tell me a little bit about. So you started cooking some, and then you kind of blossom into all that.
Yeah.
Recipe.
Yeah. I find it funny. I have a friend that calls me a chef. I'm like, no, I'm not a chef. I learned to like it. I got better at it. I realized I was very creative when I did it. I had fun uploading these recipes and uploading videos. And it kind of went from a hobby to what I'm trying to make it now, which is a career.
Okay, yeah, and we need people like you who are legit, and then they believe in health, and then the fitness, and trying to put. Problem is, a lot of out there, a lot of info. People have all kind of info. The problem is the food industry is also there, big industry, and medical industry also, pharmaceutical especially. So they are there. Anytime you and me, we talk about lifestyle, they don't want you to go there because people will be healthier, and then nobody is going to be buying their products much, and that is a problem for them. So they find a way to use this tag lifestyle, and also use this salads, or use this. Now if you look at the fast food chains, their salad has so much calories, unbelievable. So I don't know who calls them healthy. I don't know.
Yeah, you get a salad, you throw a ton of cheese and a
Yeah, so
creamy, whatever. You kind of negate a lot of the
good things,
benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I said, if you're eating 1,500 calorie salad, I think you'd rather just eat the hamburger. That's fine. Why bother putting a lettuce there and then just say, oh man, I ate green. Okay, wow, really? So then, I think that is why it is important that we come up and we promote, people like yourself. So tell me a little bit, I pulled some of your popular ones. So tell me a little bit about these.
Yeah. So that first one's very popular.
Okay.
It's more, so some of my recipes are more of like a better alternative kind of recipe. So I wouldn't say, hey, this carrot cake's on Caitlin's website, I'm gonna eat a giant slice of it every night. That's that's not my intention. But it is sweetened with dates only. So I've tried to clean up a typical carrot cake recipe. I've snuck some beets into there, and that one's really tasty. The second one there is totally okay. Yeah, I want to skip through that.
Okay,
That's
who
a
is
fun
this?
video too.
Who is this cooking with you?
That is my stepdaughter.
Okay, that's
Yeah. So we got
okay.
the bunny ears on. She loves to bake. She's totally going to be a cooker, some sort of cook or baker for sure. She had a lot of fun being on camera too.
Yeah, I see that.
And then
I see
the other one, the salad, that one's definitely a lighter, healthy one. It's not necessarily a better alternative one. That's a healthy recipe. And then I don't know what else I had there.
So yeah, let's go with this roasted sweet potato and beetroot salad. So this is how it will look, right?
Yeah, it's before you mix it all together.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to find good ways to use beet, and I like the incorporation of you know, the sweetness of apple and sweet potato with the beet and the cranberry, and there's just something magical about tying together a sweet and savory salad with balsamic vinegar. So I like that one.
Okay, and this is very cool. It's very, very colorful, as you can see. It has a lot of colors, and it looks beautiful. So
Yeah.
for sure. So, but we always encourage people to check out the portion size. So, and just eat appropriately. Eat only things which you can burn or which you can, justify. Do not overeat. So there's nothing wrong with eating. It's just problem is you have to walk, you have to do some exercise, you have to do something to burn it. You just don't want to eat and sit. That's the worst thing anyone can do, right? So that's have some activity, right? Burn those calories.
Yeah, and I'm a huge proponent for mindful eating. You know, if you can learn to gain some awareness around your own behaviors and your appetite signals and how you feel, and you transition to a more predominantly whole food diet, I think that those are, you know, you're gonna learn what too much is over time.
Okay, so tell me, what is the difference with for people to understand whole food plant-based versus the regular?
I'm just a proponent for adding as many fruits and vegetables as you can to like naturally crowd out the junk food. In all honesty, I went fully plant-based for like 7 months last year. And I love plant-based. I think it's great. But then I got a nutrition certification, and it kind of tilted me back the other direction, but I still do completely believe in, and I strongly believe in the power of plant-based foods to, you know, help mitigate your risk for cancers and diseases, and just eating predominantly plant-based food is going to help you reduce the amount of saturated fat and some other things that you don't want in your diet that might typically come from fatty meats and animal products.
Okay, and I see you have a lot of cuisine, lot of good dishes. I mean, I love your. You have low sugar. You have. So let's check your different types of recipes you have, and a special diet, vegetarian. Also, you have option, and low sugar. So so these are your low sugars.
Yeah, I'd say most of them are low sugar. I try to go as low sugar as possible with everything. You know, it's just it's a tag on there. I don't know if
Okay. So do you do some exercise or walking, or do you do something on those?
do you mean personally? What do I do personally?
Yeah.
So I've been a runner for many years. I recently had to do a lot of physical therapy because I was pushing myself a little too hard with running. But I'm back into running, but now I've been considering triathlons so that I can, you know, mix it up with some swimming and cycling as well.
Okay, that's very nice. And so your advice to everyone, check out your basically kind of this plant-based diet because it is less in sugars and for sure a lot of colors, a lot of good stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so people can benefit from good nutrients, micro and micro as well as macro.
Mhm.
So tell me also about some of things which can really, ruin somebody's lifestyle. So
Can what somebody's lifestyle? I'm sorry, I
uh,
missed that.
some things which can really ruin somebody's lifestyle, you know.
Oh, what can ruin it?
Yeah. So
Uh,
if they are on
Hyperpalatable foods like processed hyperpalatable foods like ice cream, and when they mix fat and sugar together, it's that put together makes it irresistible and makes it so you can't you have a hard time honoring your satiety. I have to
satiety,
say the word. Yes,
satiety.
satiety signals. Um, and not moving at all. You don't need to be a triathlete or a runner per se like me, but just getting some everyday movement in. Walking is excellent. Um, I'm all about deep health, so I think it's more than just food. It's every area. It's stress. It's not getting adequate sleep. It's not having connections with others, that are positive. It's every facet of your life can contribute to your health.
And that is true. So there are three major facets, and I also actually talk about those three in my book too. So diet is one, yeah, kind of mindful eating. I would say mindful eating, and basically that's very the key. And second is core activity. You need to have some kind of activity. Human body is made for activity. And it is not made to just sit idle because your blood starts clotting. If you're sitting for more than a couple of hours and not moving, unfortunately, your body blood circulates and it tries to stagnate, and then you can develop blood clots, and people have,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a dangerous condition. So you need to move first. So, and on the other side also, if you don't move, muscles start getting weaker as well as bone. So besides blood clots, those are the bad things can happen. If you are in bed for a long time, yeah, we see a lot of now with COVID patient. So they're unfortunately on ventilator or something, on hospital bed for some time. They really decondition tremendously, and they can't even, get out. So first thankful that we are doing well. So, but make sure continue that some kind of activity your body
Mm-hmm.
needs every day. And thirdly, of course, sleep is so important for rejuvenation. Carb craving is going to be really worse if somebody is sleep deprived, or they could have.
Absolutely.
Then you'll be craving a lot of sugary stuff. And like you said, if you mix sugar with fat, the problem is we have in the brain those center. One is tidy center, which tells you to stop, and then the hunger center, which actually needs protein to tell. So they have seen they fed mice with just carbs, and then they gave protein at the end. They stop eating as soon as they hit the protein. So same thing, you can eat a lot of carbs and then you don't stop unless you hit fat and protein portion. But if you eat that mainly, then it's going to satisfy your brain, hunger center as well as tidy center. And
Mm-hmm.
then tell not to eat a lot because you don't need actually. And third thing is, of course, is the stomach is the bag. The more you fill, the more it asks next time. So it's very simple, right? There's nothing magical about that, but you have to be mindful. So this is appetite, and if we are vigilant about what we eat and enjoy your eating. Don't just put the food and just run away like fast food. because that's where most people don't even remember what they ate or how was it tasty, nice or no, because they want to get out of these fast food chains pretty quickly, turn around. But guess what will happen? Then you can take 2,000 calories in 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
right. So, and then you think your body knows what to do with those 2,000 calories? Not really. Your brain and stomach and blood